Hello, welcome to the Manic Pixie Dream Vlog. I'm your host, Caroline Georges, and welcome. I did the roast battle yesterday. Last night was really one of the most fun nights of my life. It was so fun. It was just, it was at the Comedy Store, which, for those of you who don't know, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. Being able to be on stage at the Comedy Store is a pretty big deal. Even for roast battle, it's a pretty big deal. And it was a big deal for me. And I got to do it. I got to do roast battle. And I didn't win, I lost, but I did a good job, and we were the best of the night. And everyone that went and watched told us that we were like the best ones to go up. And which was, and we both worked really hard. Both of us, like my partner Ryan Joseph and I, we both worked really hard on our roast jokes. And mine was, so I wanted to talk about, there's a man that I've been thinking about a lot. And so there was this YouTube video that went viral where there was this like communist college club doing a summit or doing a meeting at an auditorium. And then a guy gets up, takes the microphone and says, "Can everyone please stop clapping? Because it's stressing me out." You know what? I want to tell you about this brave woman called Harriet fucking Tubman. Now, Harriet Tubman grew up in slavery. She was greatly oppressed throughout her life. Slavery is one of the most unbearable forms of torture you can imagine. And she bore it. And she escaped. And she made it to the North where she had freedom. And she was given freedom. And then you know what she did? She went to an auditorium, took a microphone and said, "Can everyone please stop clapping? It's stressing me out." That's what she did. Because she's a hero. She's so strong. No, she freed thousands of slaves. Harriet Tubman and women and people like Harriet fucking Tubman could not give a shit if people are clapping or if they're not clapping. They could give a fucking shit. They give a shit about things that really are a fucking problem. Is this man that bitches about people clapping, is this man gonna help me? Is this man gonna stop situations that affect me, like rape, abuse, sexual assault? Is this man gonna do anything to affect change in those areas? You think this man is going to stand a chance to fight these things? Would this man stand and fight against these things and stand a chance to stand and fight against these things? No, because he's weak. He can't handle clapping. So how can he handle rape? How can he handle slavery? How can he handle oppression? How can he handle true oppression if he can't even handle clapping? But anyways, the roast battle went really well. So one of the jokes was, and this is why my partner won. He really hit one home. He said, "Caroline George's breasts are so small, but it's okay. She makes up for it with the gigantic bags under her eyes." Now look, I have PTSD. I have trouble sleeping. It's very rare that I get 8 hours of sleep. I'm tired a lot. I have trouble falling asleep. I have trouble staying asleep. I have nightmares. I wake myself up in cold sweats all the time, you know? I really have trouble sleeping. I've always had trouble sleeping. And it's been a great hardship in my life. But that joke was fucking funny. And people clapped and people laughed and people experienced joy because of that joke at my expense. What an honor it is to inspire a joke like that makes people laugh. Did I get upset? Did I storm off the stage crying, saying, I don't sleep because I have PTSD? I have bags under my eyes because I have PTSD, and I've always had PTSD, and I've always struggled with sleeping ever since I was a little girl. No, I didn't. Because you know what? I'm an adult. And I can take a joke. You know, one of the other jokes that he did that really killed was he made an eating disorder joke. He says, everyone says that Caroline's a bulimic, but I don't think she's a bulimic. I just think she's throwing up all the time because she's stressed out about getting fat. Okay, look, I had an eating disorder for 7 years. I was a bulimic for 7 years. And while I was dancing and while I was stripping, I would binge and purge. If I overate and I ate too much and I had to go on a shift, I would throw up. I would force myself to throw up. And I throw up sometimes because of stress, and I throw up sometimes because, I throw up because of stress sometimes. I've had anxiety attacks where I've made myself sick and I've thrown up. Did I walk off the stage crying? Did I walk off the stage crying? No. I was reeling with laughter. That was hysterical. That was so funny. And the entire audience was laughing and thought it was hysterical and thought it was funny. Because you know what? I don't have an eating disorder anymore. You know what? I'm plenty happy with my body. Tons of guys want to fuck me. I'm good. I have more men coming at me than I can fucking handle. I am good. I should probably put on weight to stop all these guys from trying to fuck me. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. It's all good. I'm not getting fat. I'm 125 pounds. I'm not fat. And you know what? Maybe there's a girl in the audience who is struggling with an eating disorder, who is struggling with her self-confidence, who is having issues and is in that headspace where standing on stage at the Comedy Store and having a joke like that being said at her would really affect her. Maybe there was a girl in the audience that has that story, and you know what? Maybe her seeing me laughing and taking that joke and thinking it's hysterical, maybe that would be really good for her. Maybe that really helps someone. Maybe seeing a girl who's totally thin, who's not fat at all, receiving a fat joke, maybe that could help someone. Maybe that can encourage someone. Maybe that can help somebody have self-confidence in themselves. Because, if she can take a joke about being fat, then so can I, and I put a lot of stake in my appearance for a long time. I did. I used to, I still, it's a force of habit. My mother was the most beautiful girl in town. My mother was the most beautiful girl in Juneau, Alaska. My mother was the most beautiful woman in Juneau, Alaska, and I was her daughter. And I looked just like her. And and I grew up being told all the time that I was the most beautiful girl in town. Caroline, you're the most beautiful girl in town. You're the most beautiful girl in town. And I got ideas about myself. I got really vain, and I was really full of myself. And then I moved to Los Angeles, where I'm not the most beautiful girl in town. Oftentimes, I'm not the most beautiful girl in the room. There's plenty of women that are more beautiful than me. And that's okay. I'm still Caroline, and I'm still beautiful. And there's plenty of people that still think I'm beautiful. There's plenty of people that still want to sleep with me, Don't be greedy. You can't have it all, And my mom whenever I would have issues with a girl, if I was being bullied or if I was being teased, or if girls would, make fun of me or something like that, this is what my mom would say. She would say, Caroline, why do you give a shit about what Angela thinks about you? She looks like a seal. You know what I mean? Was typically my mother's, my mother's pretty funny. And, and then she would show me pictures of a seal and be like, oh, look, Caroline, it's Angela, and stuff. And that was just sort of a defense mechanism. I was taught that if a girl doesn't like you, it's because she's ugly. It's because she's physically uglier than you. And so don't take it personally because you are more beautiful than that person that is trying to attack you personally. Don't take it personally because you're more beautiful. But what happens if I'm attacked by a woman who is more beautiful than me? Then what does that mean? How will I handle that? But you know what? If I can handle a fat joke on stage at Roast Battle, then I can handle being criticized for whatever else. And that's important. It's important to handle criticism. And I was raised with some beliefs that were wrong. It's wrong to think that you're better than somebody because you're more beautiful. It's wrong to think you have a jump on somebody because you're more beautiful. It's wrong. And, when Ryan and I did Roast Battle, we got together and we sat down and we gave each other our life stories. We opened up to each other and we just gave each other material to work with. And one of the things Ryan gave me was that his sister died of a drug overdose when she was 21 years old. And he discovered her body because they were living together at the time. And I said, Ryan, your sister died tragically of a drug overdose. Her drug of choice was you holding a pillow over her face. Ryan, and then I got to add on to it, and then I said, Ryan, you're so ugly. I could totally understand why you cut off your sister's face and wear it. And isn't somebody's sister dying a much harder issue to overcome than your looks? It's so funny that somebody's sister dying, that's a big pile of shit. Somebody's sister dying. And I rubbed Ryan's nose in that pile of shit at the Roast Battle. And he and I are still friends. He and I are still good. He and I gave each other a big hug after the Roast Battle. And we have nothing but love for each other. And isn't that a beautiful thing? I wish I could just... words can't express it. That's what art is. We are just creating these situations and these dynamics and these performances. It's performance art. It's an artistic expression that is just so profound, but it's so simple and it's so silly. And it's so fun. And it brings people joy. And there are people in this world who are not autistic, by the way. This man who said that people needed to stop clapping, this man was not mentally handicapped. There are autistic men and autistic women that, when, people are clapping and they're in a crowd of people clapping, that can kind of stress them out and stuff. But the man that said that people needed to stop clapping, he did not have that mental challenge. He's just weak. And he wants to control the people around them. And because he's not experiencing joy in his life, he doesn't want anybody else to either. And that's what clapping is. It's joy. You're expressing joy through your hands, When it's like when you meditate, you have to hold your hands out, you know what I mean, to release the energy that's within you, to meditate and release that energy. Clapping, you're taking the energy in. You're taking all that joy that's in the air from that comedy and from the joke and from the pleasure the joke is giving you, and you're taking in that energy. You know? You're bringing it into your body and you're making yourself feel good. When you're at any kind of performance and you clap, that's what you're doing. You're absorbing that energy. There needs to be so many more places and so many more outlets and so many more environments where there can be clapping and laughter. And the Comedy Store is one of them. And you know what? I was really nervous about seeing my sexual assailant. I thought if I saw him, it was going to throw me off. I was going to get upset. I was going to have to go into the bathroom and cry. I was going to have to... And he wasn't there. I prayed for one thing that night. I prayed for one thing. I said, God, please don't let him be there that night. Please don't let him be there. Please don't let me see him. Not that night. And he wasn't, you know? And, anyways, that was the roast battle. Jeffrey Ross asked me back. Jeffrey Ross himself said, come back, keep doing this, keep doing roast. You're really good. And that, you know, I'm, you know, a stripper. I grew up poor. I'm a rape victim. And I got some positive reinforcement last night. That was really great. That was really good. And in an environment that somebody who would have a problem with people clapping around him would say, no, this shouldn't exist. This shouldn't be. Well, fuck him. Sorry, I just wanted to hit that one home. Okay, anyways, like and subscribe and support the Patreon. Have a lovely day. Bye.